Okay, the lesson that I'm going to be doing is called What Are Your Five Senses? The subject area is knowledge and skills with word rhyming. The grade level is kindergarten, and the student population is going to be taught to a regular education or regular kindergarten class with ethnically and educationally diverse students, and the class will hold about 18 to 20 students, mixture of boys and girls. The resources that I chose for this particular lesson are two Dr. Seuss books. Dr. Seuss is really good with rhyming, and they also are about the senses, or two particular senses, hearing and smelling. And I chose two worksheets, one that's going to be take home and one that's going to be done in class. The take home is going to be for the independent practice, and the other one will be done in class as a group. I also needed a computer to access YouTube, a whiteboard and markers, and the students needed pencils and markers. For this particular assignment, there is no safety precautions, but students do need to know how to use materials. Pencils need to be used for writing, and scissors need to be used for cutting and not towards other students. The teak that I chose for this particular assignment is 110.11, English, Language Arts, and Reading, kindergarten beginning with school year 2009 and 2010. B, knowledge and skills. Number 2, reading, beginning reading skills, phonological awareness. Students display phonological awareness are expected to C, generate rhymes in response to spoken words. For example, what rhymes with hat? And D, distinguish orally presented rhyming pairs of words from non-rhyming pairs. The instructional objective, students will be able to identify rhyming words from non-rhyming words out of a 20-word pair paper sheet or worksheet that's going to be given. And the take-home part will be where they match a little picture that will demonstrate demonstrate a certain sense, and they will need to be able to identify it with the actual text word of that sense. Then they will need to write a small paragraph, probably 2 to 3 sentences, about their favorite sense, and I asked the students to at least get one sentence to rhyme. The anticipatory set is, I started by asking the students if they know or they knew what their 5 senses are. I would then tell them that they're actually using a sense right now if anybody could guess what it was. I then showed the students the 5 Senses song on YouTube. I have the link the hyperlink here in the lesson plan. And then I had them watch it the first time, and then I played it again for them to sing along. After the song, I drew a really big hand on the whiteboard. It kind of looks something like this. It's obviously going to be blank in the beginning, and then we will go through and I'll ask them to identify the 5 senses. So they would identify one, and I would write it in here, 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 and here. After that, I would go into the procedure, the instructions part. I would state the objective as tell the students that we are starting a unit on the 5 senses. In today's lesson, we will be identifying rhyming words and distinguishing the difference between rhyming words and non-rhyming words. So I would start by reading the Dr. Seuss books that have to do with the 5 senses, or actually just those 2 senses actually. And then once the book is finished, I would go back through the book and ask different students if certain words rhyme or not. If they decided that they rhymed, I would ask why they thought they rhymed, and then if they said that they did not rhyme, I would ask them why. So I would then go through and just explain to them that they needed to know the difference between rhyming words and non-rhyming words. And then I would go into the procedure, the modeling section. I would get a really big notepad and set it up so all the students could see. I would write one word down. I have an example here. I would write one word down and ask the student to give me a word that rhymes. So the word will be written over here, and then the blank will be here. So I would call on a student and say, okay, so what is this word? They would read it to me. I would ask them to give me another word here to rhyme with the word that they just read. So I would do that, just for a few words. Once they gave me the word, I would write it in the blank, and we would go through a couple more words as a group. I would also do some word pairs. I would give them pairs that rhyme and pairs that don't rhyme. So here I would have hat and sat, and then I would ask them, or I would call on a particular student and ask them if they thought the words rhymed or not. If they told me they rhymed, I would say, okay, well, why do they rhyme? I would have them explain it to me the best that they can, and then I would check it off. And then down here, I have words like dog and doll. I would ask these students if they thought that these words rhymed or not. If they said that they rhymed, I would ask them why. If they said they didn't, I would ask them why. They would hopefully tell me, no, they don't rhyme, and then we would exit off, and we would discuss why they don't rhyme. Let's see here. In the guided practice, I would pass out the 2 worksheets and tell the students not to start until I go through all the instructions. On the Ladybug, which is the new technology that schools are using instead of the old projectors, the Ladybug projects on the screen, so I would put the worksheet under the Ladybug, project the worksheet on the screen, and explain that this is to see if we know the difference between rhyming words and non-rhyming words, and I would go through the first 2 word pairs aloud with the class as an example. I would ask them to think if the first 2 words rhyme after reading them a couple times slowly. I would ask them why they think they rhyme or why they think they don't rhyme. And after 2 examples, I would have them complete the worksheet. To check their understanding, I would ask the students what the difference between rhyming words and non-rhyming words were, and I would also ask some of them to give me some examples of some words that rhyme. The independent practice, this is when I would give the students the take-home worksheet to do for homework. It will be about the 5 senses and being able to identify the particular sense that's being shown in the picture, and to see if they can match it with the actual printed word text of that sense. So that's when they will pick their favorite sense. After the worksheet's done, on the back they could write 2 to 3 sentences. At least one of those sentences could or needed to rhyme. The assessment part will be when they bring it back to me the next day, and they should be able to identify the 5 senses and match the picture of the sense with the printed text of the sense being shown, and they should have at least had 1 sentence that rhymed in their paragraphs. The reteach of this lesson will be for students who did not master the concept the first time. So I would gather the particular group of students with a worksheet that was similar to the day before, and then I would use their little paragraphs that they wrote on the homework. And as a group, we would go over the pairs of rhyming and non-rhyming words in the columns. We would slowly read each word and explain why they rhyme or why they do not rhyme. I would then work alongside them as they do the last 5 word pairs by themselves, and then I would have them rewrite a new sentence that rhymes, just 1 sentence, and it can be about anything. The enrichment extension part of this lesson, the students would be given a short story that has a rhyme scheme throughout it. It'll be for their age level, obviously, and they will have to read it and circle the words that rhyme with each other, using the same color for the words that rhyme, and then once the rhyme scheme changed, they will use a different color for those words. And to close my lesson, I would have the students come sit on the carpet as we have a discussion about what we learned. I would ask them the 5 sentences again, do another hand probably, and have some students come in and write the sense that they remember. And I would also do a couple word pair little activities with them on the board or on the notebook to make sure that they really do comprehend the lesson. And then I would let them know that their paragraphs were so good that we're going to make a rhyme wall, and we will put them on the rhyme wall for the week. So that closes my lesson for knowledge and skills with rhyming.